Well, hello, my friends, and happy Sunday to you. Look at these cutie patooties. So I have some vintage papers. These are this Christmas music from an old hymnal, and those are going to be free to you in the resource library. And I am putting them down on 4x6 cardstock, heavy duty cardstock. And I'm just trimming them up while they're wet so that I don't go over all of the pieces and I can reuse the scraps because I'm like that. And I'm using Deco Arts Matte Medium to put my papers down and to seal papers and get it ready for all of the layers. I'm going to do the same process to all of the cards. And you could use these for cards, you can use them for tags, but because they're a good size, 4x6 is a good size. So now I'm going to make some collage papers, and I had so much fun with my washi tapes that I decided to kind of create my own. Washi tape is kind of invisible, I mean not invisible, see-through, and so is this technique. So I've just stenciled a bunch of patterns down on this deli paper, and I will have the links to the deli paper and all of the stencils that I used on the blog. And I recommend that you stick with one color and just stencil all the designs that you want in one color, or kind of mix the various colors that are the same. So I'm using like cadmium red hue and magenta and nickel azo gold, and they mix really well together. And then I went to turquoise and greens and blues, and those all mix well together. And I want to go and do a whole bunch more because it was just so much fun, and they work so well when you lay them down. The background disappears, or it kind of gives it an encaustic feel. There's a little bit of a white shadow, and it just is so much fun. And then, of course, I did some blacks for contrast. And some interest and some fun for the collage elements as well. I will use some washi tape too on these cards, but mostly all of my deli papers. It's just so much fun. I like it because I can just grab a tiny bit and put it here and there, and it is see-through, so all of the layers show up, and then it adds this little bit of texture, which, you know, that's what I'm all about. Texture, texture, texture. So I'm going to continue to layer my cards. I don't have a plan. I'm trying not to think. I'm trying to go really fast because that's always when the best things happen. When I slow down and I start to contemplate where things are going to go, it doesn't turn out as well. And so I try to just be intuitive and go with the flow and work really fast. And so these cards came together super fast. These are also the finished product, finished tags or cards or whatever you want to use them for, are also free to you in the resource library. They will be just as no holes punched or ribbons or anything like you will see in the final product, but just the fronts so that you can download them and use them for your packages or any other, however you feel. So those are going to be free to you as well in the resource library. All the links, supplies, and everything will be on the blog. So I love that I can just tear a bit of, and I get just part of a pattern, part of an image, I just love that. And then layering over it, the texture is fantastic, and I love that I can see everything through it. So I hope you try this deli paper technique, and this deli paper was perfect. It was cheap and really light, and that's what I wanted. I love how these numbers look in the final piece, so I'm going to do a whole bunch more of these. So now that I've got all of my deli paper collage papers down, I'm just now adding a few little bits of washi tape. I just fell in love with these this polka dot, black polka dot, and it needed that contrast. It needed that variety in the background. And you know, most of this will get covered up and just bits and pieces will peek through. And so again, I'm still trying not to think too hard about where everything is going. And adding just a few more bits of washi tape. These are like tickets, um, vintage tickets, washi tape. They're so cute. It's a Tim Holtz tape, of course. Tim Holtz always has good stuff. So I've got everything down, and now I want to start bringing everything together and neutralizing, and I'm doing that with some just titanium white medium body paint. I'm using my square palette knife which I now have fallen in love with. I will also have a link to those. If you've not used a square palette knife before, I have not, you'll want to try it because it's so much fun. So now I want to bring in back in some color. And if you've taken any of my workshops, you know my process for creating a background of neutralizing, adding interest, neutralizing, and that's what we're doing right now. And just adding bits and pieces of color here and there. Again, not thinking too hard about it. So now, of course, I've got to grunge it up because I knew I wanted it to look folksy and rustic and old and vintagey. So I'm just dipping my damp rag into some Van Dyke brown and just rubbing over that, and all of that texture of the deli paper is just showing up so beautifully, along with that paint that we scraped over the top of it. Yum! And then just edging the edges a little bit with that Van Dyke brown. So now I wanted to add just a few more embellishments that I knew. There's always something that I want to maybe possibly show more than not show. And so I leave those for the last bits. And this is just a numbers washi tape, again from Tim Holtz. But I wanted it to really stand out. And so that's why I saved it for the end, so that it wouldn't get covered up. And because the washi tape is see-through, all of those colors blend right in with it. So now I'm going to add my stenciling, and this is my snowflake stencil. And I'm just, again, using some titanium white. There were certain spots on the tags that I didn't want to cover up, and that's why I was kind of hem-hawing around about where to put my snowflakes. So now I've got my trees stencil, and I started out with a really lighter green, And you can see as I stencil these down, those trees just kind of disappear into all of that background. And so we're going to fix that by highlighting around the trees. You can see I started to darken it up. It still was not standing out. There wasn't enough contrast. So around that already stenciled area, I just highlighted. I just took some titanium white and watered it down and just went around that tree. I wasn't trying to go along the edges or pay attention to where that line, where the lines were, because I was going to come back and stencil back over it anyway. So I'm just highlighting around that so that there's immediate contrast between the image and the background. Now I'm going to come back in with some darker green to really make that pop. And look at the difference. So much better. So the snowflakes were way too bright white for me, for my liking. So I just grabbed some Daler and Rowney sepia acrylic ink and really did a real light wash with a lot of water, and then just kind of picked it back up again, and it was just enough to kind of tone that bright white down. Now I'm going to shade around it, shade around the trees and the snowflakes and the edges and all of that I typically will do to give it more depth and dimension. And we are almost done. I will punch holes and put ribbons and twine in them, and we are all set. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, subscribe or like and share and all of those things. And don't forget to get your free downloads of these cards and of the vintage papers. And I hope you have a Merry Christmas, and stick around for what I have to share at the end here, and I will see you next week. Hello, my loves, and happy Sunday to you. So here they are, cutie patooties. These are a free download to you in the resource library. They are just plain. They don't have a hole or a ribbon or anything, so that you can do that yourself. You can punch the hole and you can put out, I did sari ribbon, I did twine, you can do whatever you want. You can even customize it and put names or special message or something like that. Write your message on the back. I just painted them with white acrylic, but you could customize this even more and put a piece of ledger paper back there or something like that. You could use this and put it on a card. There's lots of opportunities for you to use these. Print it out on matte paper works really well. That's how I like to print them. And yeah, so for you, for free, in the resource library. All the supplies will be listed on the blog, and the link to, if you're not already a subscriber and have all the info for the resource library, a link will be there so that you can get these. But yeah, that is it. Make sure that if you make your own, that you seal it with a fixative, and then you go back over it with some matte medium or something like that, so that that charcoal or whatever water soluble product that you might be using doesn't get on. See, I haven't sealed it all the way, and I've already got some on my fingers, so I need to still seal these. I sprayed them with a fixative, but I still need to seal them. And I think that is it. But super, super cute. You can use these for all kinds of different things, and I hope that you do. I hope you grab them. Let's see, what else was I going to tell you? Oh, the music sheet, the Joy to the World, that I showed you at the beginning that I got from my old hymnal. Those two sheets are going to also be available in the resource library that you can use if you decide to create them. I would recommend trying this little project because it's just so much fun. When you put them down, it's so see-through, and it kind of creates an encaustic feel, which is fun. The other thing that I've been using that is new is my square palette knives, and I love them because I can get a really good scrape when you're not needing any detail or anything like that. You're just trying to get the effect. Love that. Love them. I'll have links for those as well. I'll have links for all the stuff for the deli paper and all that kind of stuff. Okay, I think that is it. So I hope you grab these and use them for your gifts and whatever. And I just want to say, no big long talk. I just want to wish you a happy holidays if you celebrate, and that remind you that you can create your own experience. Sometimes we don't get to choose our families, and sometimes family interaction is not always the easiest at the holidays, but we can choose our attitude. We can choose our heart's focus, and we can choose to love in spite of sometimes maybe family tensions or different things like that. We can also choose to find people to celebrate with if we are alone. And believe me, I've done both. And I've said this before, I've created families at Christmas time that because I was alone, and you can definitely do that too. You don't have to spend it alone if you are in that place. So I just want you to know how grateful I am for you, how thankful I am that you guys, this community, it is just a spring to my soul. It just gives me life and keeps me going, and I am so incredibly grateful for all of you. And that's it. So I just hope that your holidays are wonderful and peaceful, and that you can find some space and some quiet and some rest in the midst of all of the stuff. And I hope that you always, always know that you are loved.